So we kind of did that real quick and got it cleaned up, and I was made fun of for the rest of the time, and probably the next time I showed up as well. But yeah, idiot sandwich goes to me for fucking up those salmon.
What's going on, guys? We are Whipped Cream Salmon, and this is our first in-person pod.
Yeah, super exciting. That's
Super
awesome.
exciting.
I feel like I've been wanting to do it this way, or I just see a lot of podcasters do it this way, and it's like a way better way to like have a real conversation with someone is when you're like actually in that room with them, because otherwise like we're always constantly like dealing with delays, which like, I mean, I think we do an all right job, like, but we have to like edit all that, like, oh, I didn't hear when Ronnie started talking, therefore I started talking over him, or like vice versa, or there's just like a delay in the network, so his recording is just a little slightly off of ours, and I don't know, I think this will be a pretty good experience doing it this way. Happy that you're up here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Ronnie came up to Charlotte yesterday, and we went to a comedy show. We went and saw Andrew Santino. It was really good. Do you remember the dude who opened for him?
I don't. Terrible with names. Who's funny?
Yeah, it was really funny.
Shout out to that guy. Good job.
Yeah. Really early on in their tour, so I think I'm not like raw material. I thought it was very funny, but definitely like we'll be excited to see it when it comes out and see how much it changes whenever the special happens. See winds up even staying as part of the hour, you know?
Yeah, right. I see you keep looking over at this beer over here.
It looks cold and I can see it condensating.
We haven't had any coffee today, so in lieu of coffee, we have Negra Modelos, which I think I need help opening because I don't have a mic stand, so I'm holding my microphone.
Oh, I got you. I got you. There you go.
My co-host also doubles as a bartender. We have first in-person pod cheers.
Pod cheers. Let's go.
Cheers. Very nice.
Love a Negra.
Crispy.
These are the only ones I really drink, honestly.
You don't like the other ones?
No, I do. I just like these are the only ones I buy and drink. Yeah. Classic.
I do like the Negra Modelos. I typically go with the other one.
You like the tall boys.
The
tall boys for a tall boy.
No, just like the non whatever the yellow one is.
Blanco.
Is it Blanco?
I don't know that it has a name.
Modelo Blanco? I don't think that's right.
It's right.
Pacifico is my jam, though.
That's your favorite Mexican
I think so.
lager? Is this a lager even?
Well, I don't know. Probably. But
medium-bodied lager.
I mean, they're all kind of pretty similar, but I don't know. Something about a ice-cold Pacifico and a lime on, like, a hot day. Dude, that's tough to beat.
What's really the difference? Is there actually a difference, or like for you, between like a like what I would consider like a Mexican kind of lager versus like an American like Bud Light? Like, is there a difference?
There's definitely a difference. I mean, I think it is more. I don't know. If we had them like side by side, I'm sure it would be like much more pronounced.
Even a Singha. Who's like
a Singha's pretty similar, yeah.
To a Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple Singhas in the fridge. Might have to get into those after.
Yeah. We're getting hammered. Day drinking. Let's go.
That's what happens when the boys don't get coffee.
Yeah. We get hammered.
Get hammered instead. can't get through the day without one or the other.
Ryan's got to go to work in a little bit.
So it's a little. It's a long while.
Yeah. What, it's 6 p.m. We're recording right now at 11:50.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, what's that gonna look like for you tonight? A lot of game logging.
Yeah, I think I probably just got one game tonight. I think I'm working like 6:30 to 11:30 or something, like 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 10:30. The games are typically like 4 hours, so I won't know which game I'm working until I get in there tonight, but should be good.
Still all good on the work front from the I know that you don't want to say the name of it, but the sports betting logging experience for you.
Yeah, I just started doing the NBA training, and like,
do you like the NBA?
I'm not really. I don't really follow the NBA.
Okay.
I do like watching college basketball, but even then, I'm like, dude, I'm such a casual basketball watcher that like, part of like my job now is like logging scoring plays, but then also like fouls, and I'm like not like I know all the hand signals in football, like what the foul is or penalty. In basketball, I'm like, I don't know if it's a flagrant, a technical. He's shooting 2 points. I know like and one, he's shooting one after if he scores, but then like sometimes they're going to the line shooting, and sometimes they're not, and sometimes they'll get fouled on the opposite side of the court, and then all of a sudden they're out the 2-point line. I'm like, I don't know what fouls to log here, so I've either gotta learn or just not do basketball. But hopefully I'll just figure it out.
Sure. I'm sure you'll figure it out. And once you have to start looking for certain things, like I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And you'll like obviously recognize the patterns. It's like everything, right? It's like until you do it, it's like so foreign, and then you do it like a little bit and you're like, okay, not that you're automatically going to be like great at all of it, but like it'll probably be more familiar to you very soon than you think, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of fun though. Part of like the most important thing that I do is like start and stop betting, and aside from like making sure that all the information is correct, all the data coming through with basketball, because it's so like fast paced and like scoring happens so frequently. We use hotkeys on the keyboard to like start bet, stop bet, like log different stuff.
Sure.
And so I've only done training for it so far, but getting that down has been kind of fun. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I enjoy it.
That's cool. Can we dive into like your other job and how that's going, and like
Sure.
what you see as cool and what you've been able to influence, and also some challenges that you see, and also see how deep you want to go into it. But I'd love to talk about like the stuff like where more sometimes about the restaurant industry than the people that are actually like in charge of running the place. I think that can be true for a lot of different jobs, and has been true at different times for different parts of my career. But if you just want to kind of like dive into how has it all been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's had its own challenges, I think. Part of I got to be careful because I'm actively working for this place. It's not like all the other restaurants that we've worked at that I can just like talk about, not completely freely. Like I don't want to like slander. I don't want to slander any of like the places that we've worked. That's not our goal here. So just as far as like, getting in there and learning the system, learning the menu has been like super easy. Now we are like starting to change the menu a little bit, so that's cool. I've had some ability to influence that. Added a soba noodle salad, a cold soba noodle salad on the menu, which I think was really cool. And we'll see. We haven't fully changed the menu yet. But yeah, it's interesting because there's a family dynamic where like one of the cooks there, or like the quote unquote chef, he is the father of one of the owners, and the owners, they know coffee, but they don't really know food. And then the chef, the quote unquote chef, he has like some food experience, but he's definitely not like highly experienced line cook. Like he hasn't been through the ranks. So there's some things that go on there that it's like, I don't know if you would see this like in most restaurants, maybe some like habits and stuff, like, I don't know. I see some things where in the back of my head I can just hear like my old chefs yelling at the person for doing what they're doing.
Sure, of course.
It's like standard.
Of course. Would you share the what you said about the drying stuff habit?
Yeah. So, and I guess it like by the book of like the health department, it's like the proper way. You're supposed to like air dry everything out of the dishwasher, and you're not supposed to wipe it with a rag, even if it's like a new clean rag, which is just, there's some things the health department like puts into place. It's just like, it's stupid, you know? You're like I can't dry a bowl that comes out of the dishwasher with a new clean rag. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. And
so there's just some common sense things, you know, like where there's rules in place, but it's like, I don't know. And no one's going to get sick because I dried a bowl with a fresh rag. It's just not going to happen.
Sure.
And, but, so this individual just like kind of goes by the book on everything, and it's a fairly small kitchen, and so everything that comes out of the dishwasher, he just like stacks and like they're like Jenga blocks like all over the back racks in there, so it's just like nothing gets put away right away. Everything's just kind of like teeter-tottering, stacked all janky, like all over the back. So it's me and one other cook there are just like in this constant battle of like trying to get things dried and put away while the chef is like stacking shit all over the fucking place.
Sure.
But it doesn't like make sense to me. Like we're a small operations. Like, do you think that these like restaurants that are doing like 700 covers in a night or something, or a day, and you think they just got dishes and bowls and plates and fucking silverware just like strewn about? Like there's like a drying room where all this stuff is just hanging out until it's dried. Like,
right,
there's a turnover there. Like a lot of that stuff gets reused throughout the day, you know?
Sure. I mean, well, some restaurants or some, depending on like how big the place is, there may or may not be like room for like some drying to happen. And like if it's coming out of, there's a couple types of dishwashers too, right? Like there's the high heat stuff and then there's the chemical one. Either way, it's coming out like pretty warm. Yeah. And like if you like a rack of plates coming out of a dishwasher, even with the chemical version of that where they like add soap and stuff, if it waits like 3 minutes, it's like dry depending on what it is. If it's not like puddled with water in some way, which can happen obviously when it goes through the dishwasher. So I do understand that to be a challenge when you're in a really small area where there's like maybe there's like one room for one rack as it's like coming out of the dishwasher, right?
Yeah.
So then you have like literally no place to put the next rack once it comes out.
Right.
I'm with you on, I mean, dry things. You like honestly, like the way that I see that rule for the health department is like, I think you could easily just have people stacking wet stuff, which is like way less food safe than drying it with a towel, right? And you must be able to dry stuff with a paper towel. Yeah, but that's wasteful and shitty.
Yeah, so the way it is now, we have like one whole, wire rack, and it's can only hold 8 6-pans because they're all individually placed onto this rack. So the whole rack is just full up instead of drying them and stacking up 15 or 20 of them or whatever, however many you can fit in a row. The whole thing is consumed with 8, and then there's like bowls stacked on top of that, and like it's just it's an absolute mess.
And like and just to be clear about the way that they're being stacked is like it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right? There's like a forecourt, and then there's like on top of that, there's
100%, 100%.
There's like one of these. Like, do they fall? Has that happened?
Yeah, shit falls all the time. It's just like, dude, it's absolute chaos. And then there's like, there's one thing. So right where the dish pit is, your drying area, and then there's 3 racks, and then you're supposed to, stack up things there. But inevitably, there's things in the kitchen that don't belong in that area, larger containers, things like that. But instead of even like putting those like in their respective areas to maybe dry elsewhere, if that's how you're going to do it, those things are also just stacked in there. So there's like big pots, big containers, it's absolute chaos. It drives me nuts. Me and one of the other cooks who were just like constantly in this battle of like trying to reel this in, but
sure,
it's a little bit of a struggle.
Talk to me about this soba noodle salad. So like, what is the prep like? I imagine you cook the soba noodles like ahead of time, and then you have like a handful of vegetables that you throw in there and mix with a sauce to order, or how's that sauce, or how does that? Like,
the idea is as it is right now, the like distribution of food coming off of stations is like 7-to-1 hot food from the salad, and I'm trying to like make some like sexier cold stuff come off of there, because it just, you got to balance it out a little bit. It's chaos. So the soba noodle salad, it's a buckwheat soba noodle, so they're gluten free. The first rendition I did, I made the dressing with soy sauce, but I think I'm probably going to switch that to tamari just to make it a gluten-free salad.
Because the buckwheat is gluten-free?
Buckwheat is gluten-free. Actually, I wasn't sure about that, but I found out that buckwheat and wheat are not actually like even related. One, I think it said buckwheat was like a flowering plant, and wheat is a grain.
Interesting. I didn't know that at all.
I had no idea.
Nice. Cool. That's great.
So it's just super simple. Also, like, because of the nature of the place, it's in like a business like campus. There's like a bunch of different like I don't know, businesses around there, like corporate offices.
Right.
And so a lot of people are trying to like get in, get their coffee and leave. So everything needs to be pretty quick, like pickup. So the salad is buckwheat noodles. Initially I was going to do like sugar snap peas or snow peas or something. But we didn't have any in. I made it with some cucumbers that I, cored and then sliced on a bias, and it looked really nice. So just the noodles, cucumbers, cilantro, scallions, and then the sauce, and then I top it with the furikake, which is like it's like sesame seeds, and I think there's like bonito flake and seaweed, and maybe some like chili flake in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Just a nice, super nice, clean, like bright flavors, and then the dressing is just, it was soy, so it'll be tamari, ginger, sesame oil, some like rice wine vinegar, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And honey. So it's nice. Like, it's really clean, really like super, super easy pickup. So we'll have the noodles pre-cooked, just toss it in a bowl with the cucumber dressing, plate it up, and then throw on your herbs, like really heavily loaded up with herbs, and then the furikake on top. Yeah,
people will be stoked. I mean, like, it's such a good little lunch, right? And
yeah,
just, like, pop
different,
in real quick and yeah,
and then they'll have the ability to like add chicken or something if they want as well.
Nice.
So
yeah. That'll be dope. Did you run it at all, or did you just plate it up for y'all?
Yeah, just tested it, and everyone seems stoked on it. So
cool.
Yeah,
you're gonna run it as it's just going on the menu. There's no, we're not like specialing it to then go on the menu, or no reason for that, right?
I don't think so. I think I think the owners were pretty set on getting the menu going next week. So
nice. Is there something coming off that wasn't performing?
Yeah, there'll be a few things. I think there was like, so the owners, I kind of mentioned like they know coffee, but they were like admittedly like, we like food, but we're not really, we don't really know food.
But they know a good food.
Sure,
right.
yeah. But they also don't like salads, and so
they both don't like salads.
Yeah. And so
it's interesting.
The salads are just like super plain. They're like lettuce, Parmesan cheese. Well, like one is like lettuce, Parmesan, and or it's arugula, Parmesan, and a pickled shallot on top. That's like our side salad. And then like one of the entree salads is like gem lettuce, Parmesan, pistachios. Like that's the whole fucking salad. Like there's just like nothing happening with the salads, which I'm assuming is why it's so off balance, like 7-1, like items coming from one station, not the other.
It's so funny though, because like sometimes like people are like just planning on ordering a salad, right? Like I think like there's plenty of people that like aren't even really looking at the menu. They just like know that they're set on a salad, or they know or they're set on a sandwich, right? If you go to a deli, like there's probably like if I go into a deli, I'm gonna get a sandwich,
Right.
But that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like to not like salads, it's like, well, you just like haven't had good salads. It is kind of the way that I feel about it, because I would like a really good salad, like, or it's like simple, but it has like good ingredients, like good salad ingredients, good vegetables, like with a simple dressing. It's like it's not gonna be a fucking barbecue brisket, but like it's just a really good, important part of a meal potentially, right? Or like especially when you're talking about like a course stout meal where there's like appetizer, maybe a salad soup, or appetizer salad, or salad appetizer, whatever. It's like I don't know. It's like it's so important to me.
Yeah, and I think the idea with the one of the gem lettuce, Parmesan, and pistachios, like the owner, he was like, I think he said he had it at like a steakhouse or something. And he's like, oh, it was like really great. It's like, yeah, but you also had a steak. Like that's that's the difference. It's like you had a steak with a side of salad, and like that was a side. But like for like you to have a lunch salad, like it needs to have some sustenance to it. Like, and it has to have like ingredients in it.
Sure. Maybe some cheese, maybe some nuts, maybe something candied, right?
Exactly, and that's spot on with one of the other menu items that we were working on, and it's a spinach salad with like a maple vinaigrette, and then it has we did it with sweet potato, but it will have squash, cranberries or dried cranberries,
like butternut squash.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like a kabocha squash, something that with like a tender skins, just trying to make all the prep super easy. So like, I mean, peeling a squash is such a pain in the ass, so you just like slice into a kabocha squash, roast it whole with the skin on, like that saves a lot of effort. So to be, kabocha squash, craisins, candied walnuts, feta cheese, or not feta, goat cheese, and bacon.
Nice.
Crumbled bacon.
Hell yeah, that'll be delicious.
And
dude, you put enough bacon on a salad, like everyone likes that salad.
And then you know that's a hearty salad. Like you got a lot going on there. And but yeah, his brother was in there, and so we made the salads. And his brother was eating the spinach salad, and then he was like, "Oh, you got to try the soba salad." And he liked the soba salad, but you know, the owners were like super fired up on the soba salad, and he was like, "Can you believe he liked the spinach salad more than that?" I was like, dude, some people do like salad.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know,
I'm
like,
one of those people.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he was just kind of like shocked that, like, he was like, he liked the salad?
Believe this guy?
Yeah, dude, people do enjoy salads.
So what has the dynamic been like? So were you like, hey, like I've been here a little bit, I think that I can help improve the menu, or did they come to you and be like, hey, we know that your experience is in a lot of food, like would you like to add to the menu, or like how did that all go down?
So prior to me starting, it was just the chef and then one other cook, and the other cook, he was kind of like running the hotline, like doing everything. They also have like other facilities where they like do like pre-made like breakfast burritos and like bring them over to this facility, and like there's a lot of like kind of catering aspect to it as well, which is like part of why I'm like trying to simplify like the prep on everything too. Like again, like people are jumping in there, they're like, I'm just gonna go get a coffee and something for lunch or whatever, you know, they need to go back to the office, and there was just like some items on the menu that took way too long. There's a waffle that has like bruleed fruit and like this like
is that coming off?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. When
Gotcha.
the owner came in the other day and he was like watching the other line cook make it, he was like, "This is painful." He's like, I can't even watch this. It's been 17 minutes or whatever.
I mean, you say they know coffee. Like, if you know coffee, then you understand. There's a lot that you understand about that, right? Like, you understand when there's a line full of people, right? Like, coffee shops get like pretty high volume, and you need to be able to turn stuff out. So, like, I'm sure if you're saying that they understand coffee, they understand the flow of a coffee shop, meaning that, like, yeah, this thing can't take 15 minutes or like to put a plate
Right,
out, and nothing can.
And that's where the dynamic with like the family dynamic, that's like it's the father and he's also the chef, and then so he's got all these like he's a good baker, like he makes like good pastries and stuff, and like he does a lot for the company, but it's just like I think his inexperience of like being a line cook is ultimately like when he's like writes these complex menus and it's like doesn't maybe understand like the flow of like time, or at least like, you know, there is something like trying to time out like hot food and cold food and like have a balance in the menu. Like you can't have these things and then like also have like a duck breast on the menu that takes 28 minutes to cook.
Sure.
You know, like
Sure, 100%.
it's just not going to work. So yeah, there's this waffle that's like you got to cook the waffle, then slice fruit, and then like brulee the fruit, and it's just like it takes significantly longer than everything else on the menu. It's a beautiful dish.
Is it bomb?
It's bomb. Yeah, I mean it's a fresh made waffle. With, you know, bruleed fruit. It's got like a mascarpone, like piped on like icing.
Is that?
I don't exactly
That's
even
a
know
prep?
what the.
Like the mascarpone has to be prepared, or it
Yeah.
comes out of something.
Yeah, it has to be prepared, and then
Prepped, I mean, right?
yeah,
Um,
sure. Same with the waffle batter, and you know, and I would say maybe like the prep is not such an issue on that. Like you're really only making two different things, well, three, and then there's also like a prosciutto chip on there. Like it's just. There's just so many, and then there's berries on this thing, and we don't sell enough of these things, so the berries are always going by bad, so we're just like losing our ass on berries, and so it's just like
Berries expensive.
berries are very expensive, and that's another thing with the menu. I was like, well, I'll do some like craisins on this, and you know those aren't going bad,
Right.
so try to lean into things that will move a bit quicker, and like we're not just gonna lose product by it just going bad.
For sure. I mean, like,
It's like if we lose a cucumber, whatever, like, but a clamshell of raspberries is like $8 or something.
selling product for people is hard enough, and that's why it makes like the restaurant business is so uniquely challenging, is because like not only do you have to move all this inventory, but like your inventory is always going bad, and like any opportunity to reduce that risk is usually like time well spent, you know? I mean, it depends, right? If you're like a real, like, if you're like doing hundreds of covers and you like know how much covers you're going to do and they are sitting down and you have an opportunity to like maybe play with the food, or you just like, I don't know, there has to be like, or like things are shared between dishes, right? Like, yeah, like a single dish on the menu that's like eating up all your food costs because it doesn't get shared, right? Like if you have strawberries on the menu and there's only like 2 of these waffles that sell a day, that's like really tough. Like strawberries also have to be in another like salad, and they could maybe go on like a few more dishes, but having to rely on ingredients that only are available for a single dish is tough.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, I think he just has like a good imagination for like nice food, and he wants to produce good food. And in doing so, like in his mind, like everything is different from the other thing, including the shit that we send over to the other facilities. So it's like there's not even cross utilization between like what we're making here and what we're making there in like a lot of these things. And yeah, we've got blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries on the menu. It's like, dude, all of these things are going bad, and we're throwing away like just so many clamshells of blueberry or just berries in general every week, and it's just like, yeah, we gotta reel this in a little bit. You also got mangoes and pineapples and oranges and
that's all
bananas. it's all on like different things. So like that's the other thing. The like his low boy is like overflowing with clamshells of different berries and different fruits and stuff. It's like we gotta reel this in a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
Like we got some parfaits and stuff. It's like maybe we just make a compote or like I don't know, macerate some berries or something, and you pour that in there instead of like having all these fresh sliced fruit on there.
Sure.
It's like, is it good? Yeah, of course it is. Berries are delicious. Is it practical? Not really.
Right. And that stuff super matters. I was just thinking, like, boy, if I had to, like, spend time in the kitchen with my own father, how tough that would be.
Right.
So, like,
yeah.
I like, how have you ever worked in a place where there was, like, family dynamics going on other than this place? I'm trying to remember. When I worked at Ciro's, like, my chef at the time, Brady, but his father was also the chef. So like there was some family dynamics there, but they were like also like both like really into the execution of the food, and they like bonded in that way.
Right.
If there was, man, I don't know, like for me, I know like my sister's probably gonna listen to this. Like there's no fucking way I could be in a kitchen with my father, or really honestly probably do anything where we're trying to like produce a product in the same room.
Yeah, it's the woman's father, the female owner, and then that is the chef, and then the man, the husband owner, his mom comes in to like help do like prep and
oh really
and work it like in the dish pit and stuff. Yeah, like super part-time. She'll come in like I don't know, maybe like 3 days a week or something. She'll like slice cheese. And
her mom,
his mom,
yeah.
So it's a full family affair.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, then that's nice of them, and I'm sure it's great to like get
absolutely.
out and do something. It's great. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. And yeah, I just want to make clear, like, I'm not criticizing like them having their family work there.
Sure.
It's just like it's just, I think that the issue is like when it's all family. It's like there's a lot of like echoing of like sentiments. Like, this is great, isn't this great? Yeah, this is great. You know, like everybody is kind of like seeing it from like maybe the same point of view.
Sure.
And yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping, and I'm trying to be a little like delicate with the way that I'm like influencing things, because I also don't. I'm also there. Well, I'm part-time, but I'm like working like 9-hour days. It's 4 days a week, but it's like, I mean, it's fairly close to full time there, you know? So trying to be a little delicate about how I influence things, and because I also am not saying that like I want to be the one running the place.
Right.
Because that's not what I want.
Sure. 100%.
I want to help them as much as I can and benefit them with, you know, share my experience and my insight without like anyone feeling like I'm stepping on toes.
It's also exceptionally frustrating when you feel like you objectively understand something better than the person who's telling you how to do the thing. You know?
Sure.
And like, I've struggled with that in the past in kitchens. I'm actually like currently kind of struggling at that at my current job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not cooking, but like as everyone does, I have managers, and I feel like I understand management better than these corporate managers do. That wasn't the perception when I left the restaurants at all from me, right? Like I had managed for a while, but I was like, surely like, okay, I'll get into this like corporate environment, and then like they're gonna have the management part down. Like that's gonna be something that they excel at. That was my perception of like corporate America, and people who listen to this who are in corporate America probably are like cracking up right now, because it's just not the case. And in fact, I'm finding that managers that like have very steady workforce that don't turn over a lot have a lot less opportunities to like learn from like different experiences. Whereas when I was managing in restaurants, there was always like, okay, this person, we're going to hire this person on. They're only going to be here for 1 season or 6 months, and then they're going to bounce. And we know that going into it. Or we're really just hiring for this 1 year, or we know this person's going to leave in 2 years, and that's like the full expectation. So within that, you get all these repetitions of hiring and hopefully not firing a lot. I mean, it's happened, but like mostly like hiring, people leaving, but also like having conversations with people and making them, you like really in that context, when you only have like 6 months to a year with someone, like you really need to ramp that person up quickly. And maybe they can't produce in the, like really high level for the first 2 weeks, but maybe you can get them to like be really useful to you, and also like they can learn a lot of stuff within a very short period of time. You know that they're going to leave within that 6 months, but like still it's like really worth it to like put a lot of energy into that person to like, I don't know, just have the best output that you can with the time with that person. And I mean, I think like, I don't want to speak with my direct manager, my manager really above him. Like, I'm like, you've kind of only been doing this for a little bit of time. Or actually, I don't want to say that. Like, kind of done that for an extended period of time, like 7-8 years. But like only in that period of time, like ever had like 3 employees, and none of them really like, he like only had to hire like 2 or 3 people. Where I was like, I feel like at 3 years at Azul, I've probably like hired 30 people, you know, and like trained a bunch of them and like just got like a bunch of reps in. And I don't know. I think that experience for me is always going to be important going forward, no matter where it was. I saw it as important no matter where I was going to end up at the time, but I didn't really see it as important. I thought that like everyone was kind of getting there in their own ways, and I thought that there would be like examples to follow through within like these like bigger companies, but I don't know. I just don't see it that way. And I'm not saying like every manager at every company doesn't know what they're doing. Of course, I just have like an anecdotal story of one where I'm like, I think that this could be better. So like all that to say, I know what it's like, because I also don't want to be in that position. Like I want to do my thing, and it's really hard to sit from the outside knowing that you know this thing maybe, or you have some like really positive input, or you're sure about something or a way that it could be handled better, but like also knowing like I don't really want to get my hands dirty. So like it's almost a cop out for myself to be like, well, you should do X, Y, and Z, but like not willing to do X, Y, and Z. Like that's somewhat unfair for me to think, even though I do think I'm correct about it in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It reminds me, you ever watch Parks and Rec?
A little bit.
Or like familiar with it?
Yeah.
There's like a scene where Ron Swanson's in like a Home Depot. He's like looking at lumber, and the associate comes up. He's like, "Sir, can I help you find anything?" And he turns and he looks at him and he goes, "I know more than you." And it just keeps walking. But yeah, I mean, I dealt with that at Pepsi most recently, where like I was offered a promotion, and then they were just like completely unwilling to like negotiate. And I was like, okay, well, you know, if I just don't take this promotion and I just like slow myself down every day and I could collect a little bit of overtime, I'm just going to make what you're offering me anyways, and I wouldn't have to do any more work. And in fact, I would have a more like leisurely day. So I turned the position down, and then in turn they hired 2 new managers to run the department, neither of which had ever done the job, didn't have an understanding of like the machines that we worked with. Like it was like just, you know, the blind leading the blind. It was like, okay, like I'm just gonna kind of sit back and check out now, because, you know, I'll do my job, and, you know, I continued to perform and, you know, put up my numbers. But it's just like, if that's the way that you guys want to operate, then that's good luck to you.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. I mean, leading is so important. and people know. Like I think it's really easy for someone once they get like settled into a leadership position to like just start going through the motions, you know? And people around you know when you're not living up to your end of the bargain, right? Or when you're like
100%.
they don't even have to know like why their brain goes there, but like they know when they're under good leadership, and they know when they're under not great leadership as well. And they don't have to know how to do it, but they're quick to notice it, and then also like become unhappy because of it.
Well, because as like, if your boss can't perform the job that you're doing, you know, like
Sure.
within reason, or just like, especially like at Pepsi, like they didn't even know. So I was servicing vending machines. It's like they didn't know how to like operate the inner workings of the machine to like do simple things like clear jams and change pricing and stuff like that. It's like, if you can't do that, like I don't really know what your purpose is besides just to like, you know, send down messages that you've received via email from your boss. You know, it's like,
Sure.
I know we have these meetings and stuff. It's like, you can just send this in an email. Like, you know, it'd be a lot quicker and easier for everybody. And I don't know, that place was lame.
I feel it. Yeah, but
Do you want to talk a little bit about the dumps?
we had some really good dumplings yesterday. Actually, we had a bunch of different food.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went over to Optimist Hall in Charlotte. It's a food hall. They got a bunch of fun stuff. It was Ronnie's first time being there. I've been there a bunch of times. I always kind of go to this one spot, or I gravitate towards the dumpling lady. This place is awesome. I mean, all the shops are like very tiny. I don't know, what would you say, like 800 square foot little things,
It's a cool food hall. Like,
Yeah.
I've been to quite a few food halls, and sometimes it just like feels like every stall looks the same as the other with like different signage and like maybe different equipment. But this one, like each kiosk was like set up like its own unique restaurant with like full like its own like decor, and like the counters were even different. Like some had have bars, some had like it's a really, really cool, unique space in there for sure.
Yeah, it's really well done. Some of them even have like, I don't want to say, like the one like Ethiopian spot has like tables, and like you like sit down there and like you get served, which is like, it's basically, people who haven't like really been to food halls, it's like a mall, like food court, right? I mean, that's basically what it is. It's way, this one is definitely elevated from that level for sure. But anyway, the Dumpling Lady is the name of this restaurant. And I mean, they have a bunch of different dumplings, and then they also serve miso, like they have like some ramen bowls.
So they had
basically.
noodles.
Yeah, they have some noodle bowls. They have like a great special. Like if you go during lunchtime, you can get like 4 dumplings and a noodle bowl for
That's
like a lunch special. It's like super dope, you
I
know.
like that.
Yeah, and Ronnie like ordered a handful of dumplings to try, which were awesome. Do you remember kind of what you ordered? And
There was like one was like a pork belly, like shumai. One was like there was 3 different kinds. 2 of them were like shumai style, where it's like kind of like an open like cup dumpling, like steamed, and then the other one was like a fully enclosed, almost like looked more like a pierogi kind of dumpling.
sure, but smaller than a pierogi, probably.
Yeah, super small. Well, not super small, but
3 inches,
yeah,
5 centimeters.
yeah.
We're really good at doing our conversions nowadays.
Don't do conversions.
Of a little round that's folded in half.
Yeah, just like a little like
so like a circle wonton wrapper, but yeah,
a little half moon kind of. And yeah, those were my favorite ones for sure. They're a bit firmer. The filling on some of the shumai I thought was just like a little too loose.
yeah,
Like didn't have enough structure to it. Like the flavor was good, but it was just kind of like
mushy.
Yeah,
little mushy. And the other ones, the pierogi style ones are like have a little more bite to them, a little more chew. I mean, it's like ground meat.
Yeah, I think they're Szechuan style dumplings. I think that's
Okay.
that like region. we watched a video last night from God, I can't remember the guy's name. I'll leave the link in the show notes. But this guy he does like all these different like food I don't know, food reviews, or like it's kind of like more like food like exploration, kind of in the style that like Anthony Bourdain would kind of do. Like man on the street, like going out eating like unique places around the world.
It's this guy up here.
Oh, what's his name?
It's from Bon Appetit.
Okay, it's from Bon Appetit. I don't know his name. It says the legendary Chinese dumplings. Lucas Sin. He's in Chengdu. But he's in this like, it's like an apartment complex. And it's like very residential area, and he's like walking through, and he's like points out one of the spaces in there. On the window there's like, Chinese letters indicating that there's dumplings inside. And so you basically just walk into this old woman's apartment, and she's got like a little restaurant set up in there. Like there's like 2 or 3 tables in there, and then she's just, her and like 1 or 2 other people, they're just like folding up dumplings and steaming them off, and that's just like their business. And they kind of serve it up with like it's like garlic and Szechuan chili oil, and there's super bomb. But they're in that similar style, except they're kind of unique because they open them, like leave them open on the ends. They're crimped like almost all the way around, and then on the very ends they're left open, and that way that they like fill with the Szechuan chili oil and like assuming soy or something else is in there.
They're looking really good. This whole style of like, he basically just walks up to this lady's like living room.
Love it.
And there's some tables, and I was immediately like, one, is this regulated at all on any level, or are people just like throwing a sign up outside their yard? 2, can we do that in the States? And
I know.
like,
that was the biggest takeaway.
How fucking dope would that be? I mean, I have heard, and we were talking about this a little bit, I have heard of people just like putting up like a pop-up menu. And I don't know if they're putting it on like is it Facebook Marketplace or just like word of mouth, maybe like hand out some flyers and just be like, hey, like we're serving this special dinner. It costs $25. We're either going to deliver it to you, or you're going to come pick it up at this time, put your deposit down and your order, and we'll get it to you. But it's like not a real restaurant. Like, what a cool concept that would be. And I would love if someone handed me a flyer that was to that extent, because
come to their house and get some food.
Or even it doesn't even have to be like I'm like dining at their place. If it's just like a takeout situation where they're like, oh, we're offering this thing. It's not a real restaurant, but also.
I mean, it's kind of like,
it's cool.
like the tamale lady, or like.
Yeah.
It's like really common. I haven't been blessed with a tamale lady out here, but definitely in San Diego, I'd experienced it, and I want to feel like maybe in Tahoe. So I remember hearing about a tamale lady.
We had a tamale lady at Azul that would come in and drop off like 20 tamales for everyone. And we'd like we didn't like. I think like I never like dealt with that I think like one of our cooks just like it was like their cook's aunt, right? And like he would like come and like get a bunch of tamales for us. I think like as a treat. But I imagine like within that community you see that a lot more, right? Like if you're if you like live like amongst like a bunch of like Mexican families, I'm sure there's like you'll see that like, oh yeah, go over to Sasha's house and she's got a bunch of tamales or whatever.
Sure.
She does it every Friday.
Yeah.
And she'll just place your order. We do cheese, chicken, and beef, and super dope. We should fuck around with some illegal food, dude.
That's fun. that would be really fun.
Yeah.
Gotta figure out like how to sell them. I was saying that I'd seen like ads on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff for like people selling plates of food, and it's typically like seems to be like soul food, like collard greens and some kind of like meat.
Here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It seems to be pretty common that I see these like plates of food, but I don't know.
Should we hit one of those up? Like when we're done recording?
Maybe that could be kind of funny to do.
Pretty sick if we can find one.
Seeking it out on Facebook Marketplace seems less approachable to me. I'd be like, I don't know. I
Then like getting like an actual
then like
flyer.
or like walking down the street and you see a fucking dumpling sign in somebody's window. It's like, turn on the dumpling sign when they're hot. Come on over.
That's cool. That like one, I agree with you, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And if we were in China, we should definitely try to do that. Like, for like the flip side of like if we were gonna try to do something like that, I feel like that's closer to how you get busted than like if you're just like handed out a flyer. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But way cooler.
But way cooler. And you come in and you dine, right? So like, yeah, so this lady, right, we just like walk right up to her living room and she starts slinging like plates of dumplings, and it did remind me a lot of like of Thailand, where like it's just like, oh, these people's like it is their home.
Right.
And then they're just maybe their cart is right outside their apartment basically. And that's the whole thing, right? And then they have a table like of plastic chairs and a table for you to dine at.
It was cool that a lot of the houses there, like the entry was like a roll up like garage door. Like even the first place that we stayed at, there was like a garage door.
Mm-hmm.
And then you like open that up and your front door is there, and it was like a sliding glass front door.
Yeah.
But you could see how you could easily turn that space into like a restaurant or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was saying that we just watched the new ep of Tiger Belly, where they're in the Philippines, kind of in a similar type of situation, where they have like there's just a bakery, but it's also a convenience store, but there's also tables and chairs, and they'll serve you anything that you want to pay for, which
it's awesome.
Asia's
anything
awesome.
You want to pay for, I like that.
Asia's awesome. I asked Ronnie last night if he would trade his whiteness for Asian. Would you just give it all up to be an Asian kid?
I don't know if I had an answer for that.
Yeah. Part of me would be like, yes. I don't know though.
I just want to be me in Asia.
Okay, that's fair.
Can we do that?
Yeah. So much pressure. Asian kids get so much pressure.
I know.
So much math.
I can't play the piano.
How much goddamn math?
We're terrible at math.
Yeah.
We determined that.
Oh. Yeah. It's okay.
I'm happy to go there and eat all kinds of stuff, though.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention we have a new listener in India.
Let's go.
Yeah. New country on the board. Give it up. Golf claps. I'm holding the mic this whole episode, so I don't typically have a mic stand. So if
getting tired over there,
I mean, this thing is.
I can see you like kind of like resting your arm against your other arm, and
maybe I'll switch it up a bit. The mic is very heavy.
Yeah, let me feel it. Oh my god, it's like 2 pounds.
I'm more like 15 or something.
Yeah, probably like 25 pounds actually.
Probably.
Yeah.
At least that much.
I mean, you're getting shredded though. You got to get it in when you can, man.
Yeah, get my reps in, get those gains.
Yeah.
We ate a bunch of pancakes and bacon this morning, so
that's true.
Carbo loaded.
Yeah.
So
for the pod.
Yeah. Trying to look swole on the pod.
Yeah. You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You look great. Do you want to move into talking about some idiot stuff or what?
What are you? Idiot.
You stupid idiot.
I'm an idiot sandwich.
You're an idiot. Of all the idiots, you stand alone.
Okay, I kind of some of the details of the story are a little fuzzy. This was when I first was started at Plump Jack, so I don't even remember who this individual was. It was I believe he was a dishwasher, and apparently a couple days prior to this, he had been at work and smoking weed on the clock with one of the other line cooks, this guy named Justice, and Justice was like this, lifer line cook, like super jaded, solid dude. Yeah, he's hilarious, but yeah, just your like classic jaded lifer line cook, right? And so Justice, and I don't know if he was out back smoking weed, and then whatever happened, these two were smoking together. For some reason, the dishwasher was under the impression that Justice was his boss, and not just another line cook. And so, like, a day or two later...
So it's like day 2. It must have been day 2 of him working.
Right, like super early
into of the kitchen.
Right,
yeah.
He doesn't know who his boss is.
Yeah.
Like, he just started there. It's like after shift or whatever, or like during shift, I don't know, a bunch of the cooks and the chefs are out back on a cigarette break. And like the executive chef is there, the sous chef is there. I think like maybe even one of the other like front of the house managers potentially. Justice is out there, a few line cooks, and then this dishwasher. And this dishwasher, for some reason, is just like, well, my boss, Justice, is here, so totally cool if I just whip this bowl out and spark it up in front of the entire management group. And everyone was pretty quick to say something to him. And
what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing, dude? Like...
And his response was, "What? Justice is right here." And Justice was like, hands up, like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like, it's so silly.
That's so
the
good.
balls on that kid.
That's so dope.
So funny.
It's also like extreme naivete, right? Like you're like, you must have no idea what's going on.
You have no idea. Like,
He must have been very young.
Very young.
19.
I'm assuming he was very stoned prior to pulling that out, because why else would you make a decision like that? Like, and just be like, what? Like, Justice is here. Justice is cool with it. It's like, Justice is just another line cook. So yeah, idiot sandwich to that guy. I don't remember his name. I don't think he lasted very long, but that shit was pretty funny. So, idiot sandwich.
Congratulations. I have one. So, a couple times, I think twice I did this, where I was I was at school at CIA, and my buddy Josh had been working at this fish market down like outside of the city, and we'd like go down during Christmas and like go work at the fish market. And I don't know if you know about like Jersey fish markets, but like it's crazy at that time of year. There's like a lot of like shrimp platters going out. There's like a million fucking clams to shuck, and there's like an Italian dinner of the 7 fishes, and like it's the busiest time of the year at the fish market. So we'd go down there and like we'd work these crazy shifts. We'd do like 3, like maybe 4 days of just like 23-hour shifts, and then like you go like sleep for like 2 hours, and then you come back and like keep shucking clams. Like it was kind of nuts. Like now that I think back to it, and I don't think that this is unique at all. I think it's like everyone in that industry is doing that at that time of year. So we'd go do it, and we'd like get breaded out, right? Like you make like, I don't know, we were making at this time like probably like $20 an hour, which was like gold. Like that's like crazy money to us at the time. Plus like 23 hours a day for 3, like we were making like really good money. So we'd go do that. And I don't know, it's probably like day 3 of like sleeping for like 2 hours over this period at a time. And one of the cooks, or I don't even know if you call him a cook, like it's a fish butchers.
Okay.
Fish butchers?
Fishmonger?
Fishmonger?
Yeah.
Okay. We were really fun. We were having a good time, but he knew that I was in school, and he was like, fucking try your shot at like breaking down these salmon. So I go in there and I start fucking, I get out the fillet knife and I start going at the salmon. He walks away. He comes back, and I've completely fucking fucked up this salmon. Like it's like really important that it's like perfect, beautiful fillets, and they're just tore the fuck out.
Shredded.
They're not good. Like I wasn't. I mean, I didn't have any experience, right? I like took like I had like filleted like a handful of like fish in the fish class, like in the fish room class. But other than that, I had none. I don't know that I had ever touched a salmon before. I had like scaled a bunch of fish and I've filleted a few, but I was like not good. But I was also confident, and I was like, 18 years old, and I was like, yeah, I'll go do that. He told me I could do it. I believe in myself enough. And he came back, and it was just like, I like shredded the meat. It was just like not good at all. And he was like, oh, like it's still good salmon, but it wasn't good. Wasn't at all close enough to be like in the display case.
Right.
You know what I mean? And luckily, like, they're like, fuck, like, let's get the shit. Let's like chop it up real quick, and we'll like, put it in the freezer, and then we'll take it out and we'll make like salmon cakes with it. But like at the same time, the like owner of the shop is like working and walking around. He's probably like making deliveries, and like we were like, I remember it being like an urgent situation. Like, fuck, we got to hide this situation. So we kind of did that real quick and got it cleaned up, and I was made fun of for the rest of the time, and probably the next time I showed up as well. But yeah, Idiot Sandwich goes to me for fucking up those salmon.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Salmon, or just like fish butchery in general, is like, it's kind of an art, really. Like, and there are subtle differences between like different fish, and like you need the right knife and like the right like tools sharp knife, and like good like bone tweezers to like pull out all the pin bones and everything. It's not. I've done. It's been a while since I've had to butcher a whole fish, but I've fucked up my fair share of fish too. Not to the point where I had to like mince it all up and freeze it.
When you're at your house, it doesn't really matter that much. Or,
well, I mean, in restaurants, I mean, butcher, but still, that's really funny.
Yeah.
I've definitely fucked some stuff up and be like, okay, we got to hide the evidence before somebody notices.
Sure. Those
it's
are
usually burnt bacon.
Yeah, for sure. Those are fun experiences going down to the fish shop.
I'm sure.
I was like,
I'd love to go. It sounds fun.
It's fun, and it's exhausting, and it's I don't know, but there's a lot of laughs going on too. I was always on like shucking clams, I think, because like that's not like you have to be like good at that a little bit, and I wasn't good at anything, but I like was a young line cook who like could pick up a new prep project quickly, and like we do the big ones, right? So like the little ones are like, it's not that big of a deal to shuck when they're like the little tiny clams. You just clam knife them. But when you do like the cherry stones, and then a size above that is I think the casinos, they're like super strong, and you have to like, I wish I remember this kid's name, who I think he worked full time, but he was like with me doing the clam shucking. I mean, we're talking about like over 60 hours in like a 3-day period of time, right? And like just like another bag, and he would like take his clam knife and like put it on the stone and make it like razor sharp and shit, and like he was good at it, and I got pretty good at it, but like you'd also like fuck up your hand for like just the fact that like if squeezing it into the thing, like not like if you slipped, you'd definitely fuck your hand up. But just like getting the notch in there right into like the sweet spot, and then like the motion is to like squeeze the thing to then get into the thing, and then it's like a shoulder pop to pop this thing up, and they're strong, they're big muscles in there. And yeah, I don't know, I just thought it was really cool, and it was a way to make a bunch of money while I was at culinary school.
Are you good at shucking oysters?
I don't think I'm great at. I think
I'm not.
I can like there could be some shells in there.
Yeah.
When I'm done, probably. But I'm okay. I mean, I'm better than probably a lot of people just because they don't do it ever. But like, I'm not an expert at it, and like, we had this guy.
I'm not good at it at all. I struggle sometimes. I like get frustrated with one. I'm like, I'll get back to you.
Fucking rage quit.
Fucking can't even get this one open at all.
Yeah. We had this guy at Ciro's because they had like a raw bar out in the There's like a backyard like patio where like bands would play, but and there was a raw bar back there, and this dude was so fucking good. He'd just crank out a dozen oysters like all day, like one after the other, and people would order them in the dining room too. So you go back, here's your dozen, and yeah, it's impressive when people are really good at it.
Yeah, it totally is.
Should we go into our next segment? The whipped cream salmon school for cooks who don't cook good.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a tip today. You go ahead. I'm see if it's something comes to me.
Okay, this isn't like magical or anything. My tip for today is just if you're making desserts, don't be afraid to use salt in desserts.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, I think like it's such an important ingredient. It shouldn't be like, I know some desserts are like salted caramel and that has like a real saltiness to it. That's not exactly what I'm talking about, but like a little bit of salt in a dessert can go a long way, and it just like brings all the flavors together. I think it's a super important ingredient, and I think it's noticeable when any dessert doesn't have some salt in it. So
yeah,
cream salmon school for cooks who don't cook good. Salt your dessert.
Salt everything.
Salt everything. Literally
everything should have salt in it.
You got a good.
I don't know if this is really a tip or a suggestion. But utilize your resources, whether it's like, Instagram or YouTube or whatever. Like, it's so important. I mean, I'm sure you do it all the time. You can cook anything. Just go watch a YouTube video, figure it out. Like, all the resources are out there, and like, my suggestion is like always try to make something new that you haven't made before. Like, I'm sure that your world famous chicken casserole, is a banger, but maybe this Wednesday, you mix it up a little bit.
Sure. I think that's great. And yeah, it's always good to like challenge with the way that you think about
100%
food, for sure.
And like, step outside your comfort zone a little bit, and I think you'll find that it's not as challenging as maybe you thought it once was. YouTube is full of really great videos on different recipes, and like, you might find that your favorite dish that you like to order every time you go to, certain Chinese food restaurant or whatever is not actually that difficult to make at home. And you'll learn a thing or two, and you'll become a better cook because of it, and load up your fridge with unique ingredients that you can use for other fun things.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, like, I think along those same lines is like, don't be afraid to cross-check some recipes of the same thing, right? Like, I rarely I'm thinking of this dish. I'm going to look at one recipe and just follow it. Like, if you look at 2 or 3, you might see some variation, and then you'll also be like, oh, like, it's weird that one recipe didn't do this thing that's seemingly very important to this other person, right? So I think like cross-checking a couple different recipes of the same things, like, is kind of how you can start to mold your thinking about a dish.
100%. And don't let like not having maybe one specific ingredient discourage you. If it's calling for, I don't know, rice wine vinegar and you only have white vinegar, I can send it. You'll be all right.
Yeah. For sure. But get some rice wine vinegar.
Yeah, also get that. Make sure you have all the things that you need at all times, but if you don't have them,
send it. Yeah.
Unless it's a very integral part of the thing that it won't work otherwise.
Right. If it's the main.
Yeah, if you're making ribeyes and you don't have any ribeye, that's going to be an issue.
It's tough. This is just garlic butter, Ronnie. That brings us to the end of our episode, but thanks everyone for listening. Like, follow, share, do all the things. Smash that button, all the buttons.
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself.
Email us at whippedcreamsalmon@gmail.com.
Send in some of these sandwich stories. Love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Peace.